Hello, friends. Earlier today, as soon as it came apparent on the news that the House unanimously passed permanent funding to compensate families for their first responders who, got ill or are ill, they passed permanent funding to compensate these families, and it's about time. I still am flabbergasted that it took so long to permanently fund compensation for these families. They have just gone above and beyond. And they showed pictures of Luis Alvarez again, and it was just so touching. And of course, here I am still kind of flying kind of high on the reading that I did on Pilar for Jen Lynn Tarot. I still feel very connected to that energy, and then all of a sudden I could feel Lewis in the kitchen with me, like I have something to say. And so I threw my cards. I forgot to press record, so we came back. I left the cards as is. I have them turned over, but I'm going to, redo it for you guys so you can watch that. I do want to share a little bit about Luis Alvarez in case you don't know. And so here's an article through NPR. NYPD detective who testified for more 9/11 compensation dies after battling cancer. This was from June 29th by Bobby Allen. But just for background's sake, Luis Alvarez, a former New York City police detective who became a leading champion for extending health benefits to September 11 first responders, died on Saturday after a battle with cancer he traced to the months he spent helping clean up the World Trade Center site. He was 53. In announcing his death, the family of Alvarez celebrated him as a warrior, noting the many lives he had touched. Alvarez, who went by Lou, was born in Cuba and grew up in Queens, served in the Marines before a 2-decade stint with the New York Police Department. Earlier this month, Alvarez sat alongside former Daily Show host Jon Stewart and delivered a wrenching testimony to Congress in support of new funding for the September 11th Victims' Compensation Fund, which is set to run out of money by December 2020. Quote, "Less than 24 hours from now, I will be serving my 69th round of chemotherapy," end quote, a gaunt Alvarez told Congress. "I should not be here with you, but you made me come. You made me come because I will not stand by and watch as my friends with cancer from 9/11, like me, are valued less than anyone else." But he never had that 69th round of chemotherapy because before he could receive it, a nurse noticed he was disoriented and tests revealed his liver was failing. Alvarez wrote on Facebook last week. Days later, Alvarez was admitted to a hospice center in Long Island. "My life isn't worth more than the next responder to get cancer," Alvarez told Congress. "This fund is not a ticket to paradise. It is there to provide for our families when we can't." The House Judiciary Committee voted unanimously to replenish the fund, and the full House is expected to vote on the new funding next month, which was today. And they did it unanimously, and it passed with permanent funding. The fund has fulfilled some 21,000 claims worth about $5 billion from injuries and illnesses related to the terrorist attacks, but some 17,000 other claims are still pending, according to the fund's most recent status report. "We will reach the point soon, most likely this year, when more will have died from 9/11 related illnesses than on 9/11 itself," said Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer of New York, urging the chamber's Republican leadership to bring the bill for a vote as soon as possible. NYPD Detective Lou Alvarez died at peace, knowing his life made a difference to others and will save lives in the future. "He was a great man. My prayers go to his family, the NYPD, and all who loved him. New York Police Commissioner James O'Neill also praised Alvarez, saying, "His strength, physical, mental, and emotional, led us all, and we vow you never forget him or his legacy, which was simply to have others do what's right." And my goodness, Luis Alvarez, I am just overwhelmed by him. And so, having said all that, I want to show you this reading that I did earlier today.
Okay, hello friends. So this was a reading that I did earlier that I forgot to hit record, but I did save the cards in their positions. So I cried to myself with no audience because it was so powerful. I do want to tell you the thing that precipitated, I think, communicating with him for that moment, and I'm going to put a link in the description, was the live interview that they did on MSNBC during, I think, Velshi and Rule. There's a woman who gives an interview there at the Capitol, and they interview Jon Stewart, but then he steps aside and wants the brother and sister of Luis Alvarez to speak to the camera. And that interview is what just was so powerful to me, that in his final days, he was talking and he was saying that he was walking and he was on the pile, meaning he was back at 9/11. And the pictures of him from when he was so young, when 9/11 happened, and then to see what's happened not even 20 years later, my goodness. Luis Alvarez is such an incredible warrior. Huge heart. You can just feel how magnificent his being is. And so I wanted to show this to you too, because they had justice today, permanent funding. It has to go to the Senate, and I believe it will pass the Senate because when we looked at this quarter moon, if you notice on the ascendant, it's 29 degrees. This is the part of fortune in astrology. In the tarot, it's the Wheel of Fortune, and it has to do with a calculation between the sun and the moon that is very beneficial. It's almost like kind of a miracle point. You see this a lot in horse racing when horses win, or people have extraordinary luck and they're just kind of in the zone and they just keep going. But they were at 29 degrees. And in Cancer, that's about home, family, your heritage, who your clan is. In Libra, that has to do with justice. And when you're at 29 degrees, that's anaretic degrees. And that means that you're at the final point. There's no more work to be done. So I'm not surprised at all that this finally passed, and it will pass the Senate in my eyes. And so, Luis, he chose this tarot deck. It comes with this book, The Everyday Enchantment Tarot. I love this deck. It's so beautiful. But he had just such a powerful message. And I was so delighted and surprised because he such a strong presence. I was like, here, you cut the deck. You pick the cards. And so this was the first one that he picked. The King of Pentacles. I mean, how breathtaking. His giant heart to be so filled up, so fulfilled in his life. You can see his generosity, that not only can he be responsible in his work, responsible and dedicated to his work, because you can see how he takes the seed and he can transfer it to money. But he doesn't spend it on himself. He takes care of the land. He tends to his fields to the smallest details of the bees. He takes care of his workers, the machinery, the maintenance, the entire environment. He's so at home being that person, that 9/11 responder. Look at the joy exuding from his granddaughter. How in love she is, and they even have a pet. And so he was saying to me that it was all worth it. And he would go there again. Because this is what it's all about. And I feel like we are losing sight from 9/11 because it's not even been 20 years. But the fact that half the Congress is willing to forget about it and put people through turmoil for so long, I think it's important, and I think his message was as well. Don't forget who we are. This is who we are. What a magnificent, magnificent man. See him crying again. He also picked this card, the High Priestess, the secrets to remind us that during times like right now with this administration, how things are going, that things might seem ugly, confusing, but in all of us with our emotions, if you look down here, this puddle, how smooth and clear it is, he was saying, we still have that. Look for it. It's there. You might have to look around a little bit, but it's still there. The universe and the light were the apple of the universe's eye. To find this space, because it's still fresh and pure, of what we all want and need and desire and hope for our country and for our futures. That we've got to take care of one another. We need to take care of our environment. And that even when things might seem down, you never know what secrets each individual has. But how are you going to know if you don't talk to them, if you don't serve them? To light a candle and kind of meditate on these things and find this space and ask and go there. Oh, yeah. How sweet is it? He was saying to have that enthusiasm. I mean, look at this family, not a care in the world. We need to be paying attention to our youth and our kids. There's so much chaos. Our families are the foundation of this country. And to get out there in the world, get out there with our kids, get out there and remember that excitement and just spend a day doing nothing but looking at snails. That's what counts. And take care of our environment, our air. He did all that work for all of us. That's what all those first responders are. Their biggest dreams are this. And your team, your squad. This is how it's supposed to be. This is how it's supposed to be every single day. We should wake up and feel this great. And it's all there. It's not that far away from us. But you have to make the effort to go out there and discover it, to connect. Because everyone's on the same team, on the same side. This is who we are. This is who we are. And he showed me this one last. The Empress. This is all that matters. This is it. There's a lot of drama going on in the world. Well, it's going to stay. The tide is finally turning, but it takes a while to, once you stop the train, it takes a while to turn it around and go in the other direction. So wherever we are with that as a nation, just have an open heart, wide open arms, smile, love. And so, just a big-hearted thank you to Luis Alvarez, his family, Jon Stewart, for not giving up on these guys and using his platform so responsibly. And so, enjoy this Aloha Friday. Much love to you all.